Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks, everyone who's on today. My name is Lauren Kale with RJ Young. Super excited to have you all. And as a token of our appreciation, everyone who's on today will be getting a Starbucks gift card from RJ Young. So be on the lookout for that. I think we have a mixture of some current customers on today as well as some new folks. For our current customers, we thank you very much for your business, and we're always trying to strive to bring value to you by partnering with folks such as Sophos. And for any new folks on, we hope that you take away some value today and some knowledge. So feel free to ask any questions that you have in the chat box. We'll have Anna fielding those questions. We'll be answering them periodically. And stay tuned at the very end for any special announcements. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Miles from Sophos.
Thanks, Lauren, and thanks, Lauren and Tim, so much for setting this up. My name is Miles Peterson. I'm the account executive here for Sophos for Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, thanks so much, RJ Young. RJ Young is a platinum seller of Sophos. They're one of our platinum partners, and they're actually our largest partner in Tennessee and Mississippi. And we've got a long-standing relationship with them. So thanks so much for putting this together. I've also brought my sales engineer, Steve, on the line with me today as well. Steve is based in Middle Tennessee. And we're going to kick things off today with a poll. So Sophos is known for our cybersecurity, our endpoint and our network security products, but we're also known for our SOCs. So we're going to do a poll question here to get started. And whoever answers the question correctly first is going to win 5 pairs of Sophos socks, which we will send you after the meeting. So with that said, our poll question is, what percentage of organizations were hit with some form of ransomware last year? And for those folks that don't know, what ransomware is when hackers or adversaries are actually able to get into your network, steal your data, and then whether it's an Excel file or a PDF or any form of data, they actually steal it and they can encrypt it. What that means is that they take control of it and you can't actually see your data anymore. They usually hold it ransom for Bitcoin or some other form of payment. And what we're finding is that these attacks are becoming increasingly frequent and they're costly. So with that said, if you want to type in what percentage of organizations you think were hit with some form of ransomware in the last year, everybody have their answers in? So the correct answer here is 51%. So 51% of organizations were hit with some form of ransomware in the last year. We commissioned a survey of 5,000 IT managers across 26 countries, and 51% of respondents revealed that they were hit with some form of ransomware in the last year. I'm sure there's some people on this call actually as well that have experienced it. And what's disturbing is that in 73% of those incidences, attackers succeeded in encrypting the data. The average cost of one of these attacks, in terms of the ransomware payment, as well as in terms of the cost for remediation and cleanup, is just over $750,000. And we've seen an increase in these attacks since the start of the pandemic. And two areas that we have actually seen be hit the hardest, unfortunately, are education and healthcare. And it's clear that the ransomware isn't going away anytime soon. One of the best ways that you can protect against ransomware is with a properly configured endpoint protection solution. And Sophos, for those of you guys that don't know on the line, Sophos has been around for over 30 years. We started out as an endpoint company in the UK, as an antivirus organization, but through development and research and acquisition, we've evolved into a complete security provider. And our endpoint protection, known as InterceptX Advanced, is considered one of the strongest endpoint protections on the market. We've been a Gartner leader for 12 years in a row now, and we've consistently scored at the top of third-party AV tests. And I'm just going to share a couple more slides here today, but then what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to turn it over to our engineer, Steve, who's going to walk you through Sophos Central and give you guys a high-level overview of our endpoint protection.
Awesome. Thanks, Miles.
Perfect. Yeah, just got to jump in one more slide here, Steve. Sorry, yeah. So our what Sophos is known for is our protection. We have a single pane of glass management console, which is called Sophos Central. And this is our cloud management console that's hosted in AWS. And what's unique about Sophos is that it is a true single pane of glass. So we've got our endpoint protection products for our desktops, our laptops, and our servers, as well as a full MDM offering. We protect the servers. We also offer full disk encryption, so BitLocker management and Firewall Management. And then we do have our firewalls and our network security products as well. And what's unique about Sophos is all these products, they aren't just managed from the same console, they actually share threat intelligence. So if an endpoint is infected with ransomware or some form of malware, our firewall can actually isolate that and stop that endpoint from communicating with the rest of the network. We believe in a layered approach to security, and there is multiple layers of protection built into Intercept X Advanced to protect against ransomware. We've got our deep learning, and this is our artificial intelligence machine learning technology that monitors that the behavior that the ransomware and the files are behaving in. Instead of just scanning for the signature-based detection like traditional antivirus, this uses our artificial intelligence machine learning. The exploit prevention, once again, this monitors for the techniques that the hackers are using and is actually able to stop the exploits. And our last line of defense built into the product is Cryptoguard. And what Cryptoguard does is it actually monitors for the spontaneous encryption of those files, so that ransomware process. And when it notices that's taking place, it's able to stop the ransomware and then revert those files back to their original state. So we believe in the layered approach to technology and security. There's multiple features built in here to stop ransomware, and Cryptoguard is the last line of defense. And I'm just going to tell a quick story here just before I turn it over to Steve. It was a couple years ago, and this is when I firsthand saw the power of Intercept X Advanced. It was 4:30 on a Friday. One of our marketing folks had taken an inbound call, and he wanted me to take the phone call, but it was 4:30, and I was just about to go home to my family, and he's like, "No, I really think you should talk to this customer." So I got on the phone, and the customer had been experiencing the sort of full-scale breach that you read about in the media. They were a manufacturing plant, and they had been taken offline. Their email wasn't working. Their internet was down, and all of their data was taken hostage. And they were losing thousands and thousands of dollars each hour. They were unable to be operational. And he had told me he had actually tried 10 different products. He went to the internet and was Googling how to stop ransomware, and he tried 10 products, and we were the 11th product he came across. And he deployed a free trial, and our software was actually able to stop the ransomware and get them back up and running. So he was extremely grateful, and he was looking for some assistance, and I got him in touch with one of our engineers, and they deployed the software, and we were able to get him back up and running and help him as he needed. And that was a really cool experience when I firsthand saw the power of this technology. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand it over to Steve, and he's going to walk you guys through Sophos Central, which is our single pane of glass management console for all of our next generation security products.
All right, thanks, Miles. I think we got it that time, man. Sorry about that.
Cool. All good. All good.
All right, let me share my screen, and we'll get started. Kind of walking through Sophos Central. So if you can't see my screen, let us know. But you should be able to view the Sophos Central dashboard that I have logged into now. So it's important to note that Sophos Central is not just single pane of glass. It's it's a platform and not a product, right? So this is where we have our single pane of glass that helps lower the total cost of ownership. All things that you commonly hear referred to by many vendors, and they tout that. But here we're actually showing you today that we do have this single pane of glass by having all of our products managed and reporting back to Sophos Central in the dashboard. So when we first log into the dashboard, which is hosted in AWS, you'll see you're greeted with the alert summary, which gives you an indication of what's going on in your estate, your overall IT health. And this is a demo site that I have pulled up here that's used globally. So we have quite a few alerts here going on. As you can see, the different widgets report on different aspects of the products and policies. Okay, so overall device and user summary. You can get an idea of specific endpoint user activity, right? Web control, any policy violations, web threats, cloud optics or unified endpoint management, right? You can definitely get a pretty solid idea of what's going on in your environment just from the dashboard. And then from there, you can go into the alert section, and we're just going to kind of work down the left side of the pane here. And from the alert section, we have all of our alerts, again, that are categorized, and you can group or ungroup these and manage the overall email notification. So one thing you should expect from your management platform is to be notified on alerts, whether it's, you know, the firewall hasn't checked in a while or the firewall has checked in, right? So I guess one thing to ask the group here today is, do you all have that in your current solution? Do you get notifications, whether it be email or SMS text or you know, some sort of indication of what's going on in your environment? Does that happen for you all today through your management platform? No takers. All right, that's fine. Quiet group.
Feel free to answer in the chat as well.
Okay. Continuing to go down the left side here, we see the Threat Analysis Center. And it's important to note that most platforms are going to charge you for a forensics view of what's going on in the event that a threat, such as ransomware, malware, or a Trojan, any type of exploit that takes place, you know, it's gonna be an add-on feature, right? And you're gonna have to pay for that. With Sophos Central, most importantly, with InterceptX Advanced, all of that is included. It's important for you to have that visibility into what has happened, and you know, with specific attacks, right? So we can see here that we had a Windows 7 machine that clearly, you know, ransomware had come in through Outlook, right? So we have a root cause here, and then it's provided a beacon event, and we can see that our protection, our award-winning protection, Cryptoguard, stopped the ransomware, right? Detected it, blocked it, cleaned it, and the machine's fine and back online. Sometimes the view of forensics can be a little challenging as a lot of processes get touched, a lot of network calls get made. We simplify that view just by showing a direct path, which shows us the root cause analysis to the beacon event here. Does anybody's current solution offer a forensics view without an additional charge by chance? No? All right. In addition to Central, which manages all of our solutions in InterceptX Advanced, we also have an add-on piece called Endpoint Detection and Response, or EDR. And the EDR piece is identified here under threat searches and threat indicators, which then also allow us to do some other discovery of the threats, or maybe IT operations management as far as asset management is concerned. And you can leverage that with the added on component of InterceptX Advanced, and it's called EDR. Moving back down to the left here, what you should expect from your management platform and the logs and reporting is some rich reporting and logging capabilities. So you should be able to schedule your reports on a weekly, monthly basis and get those in a couple different report formats. PDF's probably the more popular one, but we also support CSVs as well. You should also expect from your management platform the ability to drill into event results, be able to review runtime detections, application controls, any malware that's been found, identified, or potentially unwanted applications. And you should have a solid event written, so it gives you, you know, the event type, the user, you know, groups that user may belong to, excuse me, and then the devices that they are logging into. Under people, this is where we can integrate with directory services, so you can easily set up our AD sync for on-prem AD, or we can integrate into Azure as well. And from here with the users, you're able to protect your users by pushing policies to the user base, whether it be through our endpoint protection, our mobile protection, device encryption as well, or email gateway. In the device section, this is where you're going to get a list of devices the endpoints, mobile devices, servers, any that might be unmanaged. And from here, you can see that we have the name of the computer, right? We provide, a lot of details around that specific asset or protected endpoint. Most importantly, you can see the type of protection that the endpoint has here. It has InterceptX Advanced in our MTR service. And you can see the last user that logged into that device. We also provide the ability to, drill into this device and kind of get an overview of the agent summary or the profile for that specific device. And from here, you can manage InterceptX Advanced in multiple ways. You can update the core agent for policies and updates to the services. You could obviously remove it from inventory if it was no longer there, freeing up a license. And then you also have the ability to, under more actions, I'm in read-only mode, but under more actions, you can kick off a scan, you can change groups, you can also retrieve logs. It's easy to move through your summary and events to get an idea of what's going on in your environment or specifically with that endpoint. And you can get a status of the overall services and the health of that endpoint as well. And lastly, the policies that are specifically applied, so you don't have to guess what policies on that machine, what happened, what's going on. We provide an easy view into what exactly has been pushed or installed on that endpoint through Sophos. Are there any questions so far on Central and how InterceptX advances, or maybe how it's deployed or how we're managing it here through Sophos Central? No questions? All right. Global settings. This section is where you're going to tune Sophos Central and also the other products as well, right? So if you're leveraging our synchronized security piece, this is where you're going to go ahead and create that synchronized security settings between the products. So that, whether it be our endpoint protection integrating with the XG firewall or endpoint in our wireless or email and endpoint, you will essentially configure the synchronized security solution here, as well as other options to manage, right? Tamper protection, website management. There's a proxy configuration, global exclusions for specific known files or websites or apps that may need to improve some performance. These are all things that you should expect from your management platform. And again, we have not left Central, so we're doing all of this through a single pane of glass. Now we're going to dive into the products that are all managed from Central. And first off, leading is the Endpoint Protection, also known as InterceptX Advanced. And from here, you're greeted with the dashboard that's, again, going to take us back to the Threat Analysis Center, so this should look familiar. And it's all included in the InterceptX Advanced licensing. And you see your devices and user summary, web control, which shows your policies. All these widgets are giving you an idea of the overall hygiene of the environment. Logs and reports are going to be specific to the endpoint protection, InterceptX Advanced. So here you can have a list of users, you can see your computers, you can see what malware or potentially unwanted applications are blocked, peripheral controls, so you can get a look at how many peripherals are allowed, or maybe they're in read-only or blocked, okay? From a web control standpoint, you can manage block categories, warned sites, block sites, policy violators, and malware downloaders. Here you can see that we have people and computers, very similar to what you saw on the overview page, and all the same information here as well, but it's just listed under endpoint protection, so you don't have to toggle back and forth. Let's just take a minute and go through the different policies and options of protection that are available under InterceptX Advanced. So you can see that we have our threat protection, and we'll go through the configuration of threat protection here momentarily. Peripheral control. So with InterceptX Advanced, not only do you get our threat protection, but you also have the ability to manage the peripherals that will connect to your endpoints, your laptops or servers or desktops. Application control will control what applications are run. You can block, allow. It's pretty common to see customers leverage app control in the way of a whitelist and only approving specific applications to run. We also have a pretty neat little DLP component that's included as well. And then web control is for content web filtering. Update management is specific to managing the updates that the InterceptX Advanced agent will receive, so you can control how often and during what time the updates will take place. You don't, obviously servers and desktops don't need, you don't want those updates taking place during the day to be rebooted. And then of course we can manage the Windows firewall here as well. Well, let's dive into our threat protection piece. I want to show you a little bit about the different protections we have here. So live protection is checking in for the, with the latest threat information from Sophos Labs. Sophos Labs, if you're not familiar with them, they're our tier 1 threat center. So that's Sophos's research and development team. They come out with the new protections and products and also make sure that those protections get pushed out and QA'd and demoed and all. Deep learning is our machine learning solution. So this is going to handle any threats that come in, and this will protect you from any older threats, which may be identified from a more traditional signature-based solution, or any unknown threats, which would be signatureless. So deep learning is going to protect you from all those threats, right? Real-time scanning for local files and network share is pretty straightforward, as well as the real-time internet scanning, where we can scan downloads in progress and block access to malicious websites, checking our URL reputation engines. We also have a couple forms for remediation. One, we can automatically clean up malware, and then we can also help build out that threat case by allowing computers to send data on suspicious files or network events, admin tool activity to Sophos Central. So it's a key component to building out the forensics that we walked through earlier through Threat Analysis Center. And then the runtime protection is where you're going to find Cryptoguard, protecting your endpoints from ransomware, and WipeGuard as well. The rest of the protections here are going to protect you from active adversaries that are leveraging different types of exploits, right? So heap sprays, HTA attacks, buffer overflows, things of that nature, whether they come in from the network, come in from applications, all those protections are there to keep your endpoint safe. If you're curious about what's highlighted below here, these are all new protections that Sophos Labs has deployed and make available through an early access program that you can join. You can. Another great feature is the ability to isolate devices. So if the device becomes in a red health state, we can isolate it so to only communicate with Central and essentially provide containment and cease any lateral movement of threats. And then naturally we can schedule scanning, and we have exclusions for certain applications, whether it be file or executable, and then you can customize your messaging. It's a pretty robust solution. As you can see, it's very configurable. Hopefully your solution that you have today provides you that same option or ability. The server protection is very similar to the protections that we just walked through with around threat protection. And we can just jump in here and take a quick look at the threat protection options, because it is, they are server based. And we do protect against, from a server perspective, we have protections for Windows and Linux machines as well as virtual environments. And you can see here that the protections are identified on the left by the platform that they are protected against. So let me scroll down so you can see it a little better of what's protected for Windows, Linux, and virtual environments. We also have InterceptX Advanced for servers in AWS. And so from here, you can get an idea of all the different assets, right? You deploy InterceptX Advanced on your AWS assets, and then it'll build out the map here. And you can see your instances so that they're protected. And you can see the AWS regions that they're loaded in. Right. We also have protection for S3 storage as well. This is all included for AWS, is included with InterceptX Advanced for server. Just continuing to move along here and being mindful of time. The mobile protection, we have a full MDM solution, so we can, if a company has supplied mobile devices, we have a full management for those devices, or if the company has a BYOD policy, we can provide a containerized solution as such. We support many platforms. The common platforms obviously are Android, iOS, right? Mac as well as Windows and Windows Mobile and Chrome OS. So if you have a large Chromebook deployment, we can provide security for those Chromebooks as well as web filtering capabilities as well. We have compliance policies for that. We can also control documents through our containerized deployment, control the apps that are installed, task bundles, and policies as well for all those. With Sophos Central, we can also manage our email gateways, so email protection. Just going to jump down here. I know we're getting a little close on time. And so from here, we integrate with on-prem Exchange, Office 365, and G Suites. We can protect against, obviously, spam. We do have a DLP policy as well. We're scanning all the email and attachments for viruses, any malware or ransomware that may come in as well. Okay. We do have some pretty cool options here to protect your users. We have a VIP option, so all your C-level or upper management that may be targeted with phishing attacks, we can identify those users and protect them with our VIP management. And then also we can do post-delivery protection for Office 365. So if a message is found in a mailbox to be malicious and that message has been forwarded on, we can trace that message and remove it from the other mailboxes that it has been sent to. We also can manage device encryption. So this component here will manage your file vault and or BitLocker. It's very easy to manage that. A very small agent which integrates with InterceptX Advanced. If you need to deploy wireless, we have an APX line of wireless access points, and from here you can manage all of those through Central. This also works with our synchronized security solution and InterceptX Advanced, so it'll keep the threat from moving laterally and contain it from moving throughout the network. And here you can see, you get an idea from the network security, your APs, any threats, the security heartbeat, usage insight, right? You can diagnose these, list the APs, SIDs, and sites, builds out a nice little map in Google Maps of where all your APs are deployed. Under Firewall Management, it's important to note that Firewall Management is included with your XG Firewall purchase. So if you purchase a Sophos XG Firewall, you can manage it from our single pane of glass central management. And then from here, you have access to the report hub and report generator for templates. You can manage your firewalls here. You can group those, manage all the policies, back up your firewalls, restore them, so on and so forth. Phish threat is our ability to push out phishing campaigns to the users. So if you need to test your users in compliance, and then if anybody does not pass the compliance, we can send them on to training so that they're aware of what a phishing threat looks like. And then Cloud Optics plugs in via API to AWS, GCP, and Azure, and it provides visibility into your overall network visualization of your cloud environment, as well as monitoring spend. So you can get an idea of what the spend monitor is for your environment as well. So that's a very high overview of Central and how it provides us a single pane of glass for management of all of Sophos's products, most importantly InterceptX Advanced, right, and the protection against ransomware, and how all of that comes together and forms a synchronized security solution. So if there's no further questions or any additional questions for me, I'll hand this back over to Miles.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve, so much. And yeah, as you guys can see, our products are effective, but they're also designed to be easy to use through that true single pane of glass and through the consolidation. So yeah, if anyone wants more information or wants to set up a further meeting, Steve and I are happy to join a call. Please feel free to reach out to Lauren at RJ Young, and we can set that up. And yeah, guys, thanks so much for having us, and I'll turn it back over to Lauren now.
Thank you so much, Miles and Steve. You guys did a great job. I think we're reviewing our poll here to find out who won those awesome socks. And we've actually included a couple additional questions in our chat box. Anyone feel free to answer those. And if you have any questions that you want to ask us presenters directly, feel free to put them in the chat. And then also, we're open to do any specific demos that you have in mind. If you want one a little more detailed for your environment, feel free to reach out. We'd love to set that up for you. Again, thank you all for joining. Be on the lookout for your Starbucks gift cards, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll stay on for just a little bit in case anyone has any questions.
And yeah, Lauren, to answer your question in the chat, I am definitely still working from home as well. As you guys can see, my home office behind me.
It looks very nice and organized. Not quite like my home office.
Yeah. My wife decorated it. It is all her. I can't take any credit for it.
Okay, I just received a message. We will actually email our SOC winner here shortly. We're reviewing the poll and we will send out an email for that lucky winner soon. All right, if there are no further questions, thanks again everyone for joining, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Take care.